So the biggest needle moving thing for me in terms of getting better at sales was undoubtedly tracking all of my calls, logging all of my calls, and having a predictable system to understand what I'm doing wrong, right? What I'm doing right, and watching back every single call recording so I can just keep iterating on those things, double down on the weaknesses, right? And just keep getting better, right? Because it's kind of weird. A lot of people turn a blind eye to the importance of doing this when not tracking your calls, not recording your calls, and not watching them back is literally the equivalent of just launching a marketing campaign and then just like responding to the people that respond positively. Like that's it, and never looking at any data, never asking how I can get better, and just spamming the same campaign. And that's what people do when it comes to sales. That's why they can't get better, because they're just running through the same script, doing the same thing, and then wondering why they're getting the same outcome. When it's pretty obviously the fact that they're not actually, like, you may be recording your calls, but if you can be recording your calls but not watching any of them back, right? And not trying to get better from watching those recordings. So it just becomes completely pointless, right? So again, like if you're not watching back your call recordings, it's literally the equivalent of just lighting money on fire, because you have such a beautiful opportunity to get way better at sales and also get great market insights from your discovery, like whoever your target market is, right? Because you're watching back questions you've asked, you're listening to the prospect's answers, and you're also looking at your sales ability as well to see where you can get better. So the importance of recording your calls and watching them back, right? If you're recording your calls but you're not watching them back, like it doesn't matter, right? You have to be doing both, obviously, to make it work, right? In my opinion, sales is harder than appointment booking, right? I've found it harder than appointment booking since the start. I think sales is a lot more nuanced, especially in this industry, right? Selling marketing services or whatever it may be, B2B services, because it's different, right? There's a more of an intimate human component to it, and I think there's smaller amounts of good information on how to conduct a proper sales call than there is in terms of just getting that initial interest and getting someone onto a sales call, right? And the best way to get better at sales, one of the only ways to get better at sales, is to actually watch yourself do it and then see how you can improve, right? So with that said, I'm now going to go onto screen sharing on my computer to show you exactly how I record calls, how I track them, and the exact system for watching them back and getting better at sales as a result of that. So when it comes to actually recording your calls, like the best software to do that is undoubtedly Fathom. It's been consistently the best recording software. It's free, uses AI, it's efficient. It's basically got everything, right? If you don't know what it is, it's fathom.video. I'm not going to show you my calls or anything like that. Just log on to Fathom, create an account, connect your calendar, do all of those things, set it all up. You'll be absolutely fine. It's amazing, right? So you can basically just set that up to automatically join your calls. A lot of you probably use it anyway, but yeah, it's a ridiculously good software. After doing that, right, it's like, okay, so now you have a predictable way of logging all your calls, right? And they're all gonna come under the My Calls section in Fathom. So you can just take a look at that every time you need to pull up your calls. But not only should you have your call recordings, but you should also pair that with a predictable sales tracker that you can actually use to log all of your calls, right? And just also track how your sales performance is going. So I have two effective sales trackers here, both for a 1-call close and also a 2-call close as well. And I'll link them both in the description. So this one, obviously you can see date added, prospect name, job role, title, email, LinkedIn, right? Call taker, campaign, right? Whatever it is, pre-call notes, where they showed up, discovery call, and then obviously also you're tracking the sales call they have after that discovery call, right? Super important, right? So this is really important to have that. And like I said, there's a link here where you can put your call recordings in, and then you can attribute to actually what happened on the call, right? So not only will you have them tracked on Fathom, but you'll also have them tracked in a sales tracking sheet like this, right? Here's another one. I just put an example entry in here so you can see how it pans out. But you can see bookings, cancellations, no-shows, reschedules, sharp rates. This gives you metrics that, again, are not that easy to track when you don't have something like this, and definitely not, right? So you can also see just by sale, like what it looks like, how many full pays, split pays, deposits, no deposits, whatever, conversion rates, everything, right? Call to offer rate, all of those good metrics that really just give you a nice bird's eye view on it. Like I said, you could put a summary in there, how the call went, the objection score out of 10, video call recording link. So this is extremely important to have alongside just the recording of the calls, right? Because obviously this gives you all of the sales metrics, and tracking sales metrics is a big thing that people miss out on, and it's just ridiculously important. So make sure you have this. I can link them both in the description. Super important. Right after that, because obviously now we're tracking all the calls. Now we're entering them into a spreadsheet. We're logging all the data on the calls that we've had. So what's next? What's after this? It's obviously watching back the calls, right? So literally what I do, well, I'll literally pull up a call, right? So I just pulled up this one, for example. It was a coaching call I did with a client of mine, right? So I literally pull up a call like this. I'd play it through. I'd put it on 2x speed. I'd go into the transcript and I'd literally watch it, and I'd put my screen like half and half, and the other half, so alongside the video, it would literally just be a Google Doc. And what I would do is I'd write the name of the call. So let's say it's John Discovery Call. John Discovery Call review. Let's say I do a 2-call sales process and I'm just reviewing a discovery call. I literally just make 3 simple pillars, right? What went well? What could I improve? You know what? It would actually be 2. Like, I don't even do 3. It's literally just 2. Like, what went well? What could I improve? And then usually, because I'm pretty critical when I do this, for me, I don't know why that changed. Let's just say review. What went well? Literally, like, not much goes in here, honestly. Like, I'm pretty brutal, but try and find things that you did do well, because it will just reinforce that feedback loop that, okay, I actually am getting better at sales. There are actually things that I am getting good at, right? That you can put in there. So try and just realistically put what you can in here, like, as long as it represents reality. And in the what I can improve section, obviously you have a lot of stuff, like, because don't get me wrong, it's uncomfortable to watch your calls back at first. Like, no one enjoys doing it, right? But once you do it a few times, it gets easier and easier to do it, and then you kind of start to enjoy it a little bit, to be honest. So it's really important, because, like, if you're starting out in sales, right, if you're genuinely trying to get better at sales and you don't know too much about it, you might find it hard to understand exactly what you can improve. So it's really helpful, like, at that stage, to at least just have some sales training that you're going through, which just provides you with a way of seeing sales as a whole. So you can just understand and you can start picking at things that you've done wrong, right? So, like, some people I'd recommend is, I actually don't know if I want to recommend anyone specifically, but yeah, there's some great SMMA sales people out there that can give you advice, or just watching videos, like, I don't know, I will recommend people, let's say, like, just people that have been in the space for a while. So Cole Gordon, Alex Hormozy, people that really have a framework to it and understand the space as a whole. Like, if you can do that, it's going to be pretty simple for you to just start picking out certain aspects of what you can improve on, right? And obviously, when you're watching your own calls back, there's still going to be an element of bias that you have when looking at the calls, right? So if you can, try and get an external perspective on that. Like, try and maybe send it to, I don't know, a friend of yours who's in the space, just something like that. Maybe you can each review each other's calls, things like that. It's going to be really important, right? So having a way of seeing sales, so you know what you're actually doing wrong, and then just consistently doing it is going to be so important, right? But it doesn't get much more complicated than this. It's just tracking the calls, logging them in a spreadsheet, and then getting feedback on what went well, giving yourself feedback, and trying to get feedback from others on what went well and what you can improve. It's going to be super valuable. So genuinely, I think that's everything for this video. If you want more information about what I can do and how I can help you in any way, you can check out the link in the description. It'll tell you some more information. That's everything for this video, and I'll see you in the next one.